Since 2013, when President William Ruto became very, very active in politics, particularly on the highest level of presidency, there has been a constant factor in his politics. That is the involvement of the church. President William Ruto has always been involved in various church activities. To just begin with, President William Ruto has always been seen in churches praying, crying while praying, being prayed for, and actually following all these activities, President William Ruto was branded to be a godly president. People felt like this is someone who fears God. He's a God-fearing man who is going to get into power, and for us, as a result of him being into power, the entire country is going to change. People are going to get justice, fairness in all sectors. Apart from praying and singing in the church, President William Ruto was also seen reading various Bible verses. Despite that at some point he could quote verses that are not there in the Bible, he always showed the commitment to engage in the church, particularly to get support from the church leaders and the congregations of those respective churches. President William Ruto also participated in various harambes that involved the construction of churches, or even anything to do with the church, particularly buying vehicles for various bishops or even various leaders in various churches in this country. The aim of William Ruto all this time was to ensure, first of all, that he has gotten the support of the church, the support of women, and support of the church leaders. Now, he wanted to win the congregation, and that was one of the weapons that he used against Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta in 2022. That is the politics of Moi, as people say, that churches were a constant thing. Actually, Moi even went to various schools as well. So institutions have been a constant thing for William Ruto, and of course the same case that was happening during Moi's time as I hear. So therefore, you cannot separate William Ruto's politics from the church. As we speak today, President William Ruto still goes to the church and still reaches out to the church leaders. We have those that praise him, those that go against him. Recently, we've gotten some few church leaders who have felt like the country is heading in the wrong direction, particularly after the impeachment motion was tabled in Parliament. So therefore, the habit of President William Ruto going to church or engaging the church members has not stopped. You all saw during the 2022 general elections, where the Gen Zs in this country were fighting for a better country. After the occupation of Parliament, William Ruto approached the church leaders. We saw the church leaders going to State House, having a meeting and discussing some of the issues that they didn't even understand how they were coming up, because the source of those issues were the Gen Zs. The Gen Zs in this country are the people who had the issues with the government, how I wish they could have been involved in the discussions, not the church leaders. Now, considering this involvement of William Ruto in the church, so many people had different perception in comparison to William Ruto, in comparison to all other presidents we've had in the country. A different comparison completely. They saw William Ruto that he's now a different person. He's now a church leader. He's now a church person that we have in the house of the hill, on the hill. Meaning that William Ruto was going to be a better president than all these others that we've been having, and that we are not going to see any other thing that goes against the provisions of the Bible, not just that those of the Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, in this video here, I'm going to analyze critically what William Ruto has done to surprise the church leaders. But before I do so, kindly, if this is the first time you are watching our videos, please make sure that you subscribe, like, and comment, because that is the best support you can always give this channel. This video, I want to do it in form of questions. Despite of all these activities William Ruto was engaged in the church, there are some activities that have taken place in government which we feel they don't augur well, or they are not in line with a godly president, as it's quoted by most of the Kenyans in this country. One of them, it's abductions. The church leaders should ask William Ruto, despite going for the church's support, gotten to the presidency and became the president in this country, why again embrace things that go against the Constitution and as well against the provisions of the Bible? because we've gotten people getting abducted in mysterious ways. Just to quote a few, the Gen Zs, some of them were abducted and then they were found dead, particularly the guy called Omondi, who was found in a quarry, dumped, floating on water. We also have some people like Alfred Kettel, who was simply abducted while from church, while their family, young kids and the wife were watching their father being dragged into another car while shouting for help. Those are just two. Actually, to add another one, the Bob Njagi and the other gentleman who was abducted until we had the Law Society of Kenya, Kenyans crying for the release of those men that were abducted at that time. When they came out, they explained that they underwent very serious circumstances that were horrible, and they don't wish that to happen to any other Kenyan at all. Those were just a few of the many cases of abductions that have occurred under President William Ruto's regime. Another thing are the illegal arrests. We've gotten people getting arrested for some things that they have not done. One of them is Murara, was arrested to one of the stations some of the stations in this country because he was rotated around without any significant reason, because when we found that when he was finally arraigned in court, there were no charges against him. So he was released on a bail of, I think, 50,000 or less. So therefore, if we check critically, illegal arrests have again come up in William Ruto's regime. Now, another thing that has happened where the church leaders should really ask William Ruto is the high level of corruption that is now experienced in this country. Most of the leaders, particularly MPs and ministers, have become very rich to an extent that they can't hide their wealthiness, their richness in the public. They go ahead to wear very expensive watches, very expensive belts, and they keep on mentioning that, showing it, and actually giving testimonies on how they got these expensive commodities. That is a high level of corruption that we should not be seeing under William Ruto's regime, especially being a godly president. Apart from that, we've had huge amounts of school fees being paid, especially in the tertiary levels. That is not the life William Ruto promised while in the church. Kenyans undergoing the same type of hardships actually in various sectors, education, health, and the rest, despite William Ruto promising a better life, especially while in the church. There has been high taxation in the country. Kenyans crying right, left, and center for high taxation, hoping that the president will relieve them someday. But no matter what has happened, particularly even in the courts, still William Ruto does not blink to the pain that Kenyans are experiencing. The Gen Z simply asked that let's have accountability in the government. Let's have people reduce the expenditure, particularly the political leaders, and let's have public funds not wasted in any way. To just add on the history of William Ruto as a church leader, the First Lady of Kenya has been very strong. Actually, she calls herself a prophetess. She has been a very strong church person, even inviting strong and well-known pastors from like Benin, from the US, to come to the country to pray for the country. A project that is good but unique on its kind, because we've been having first ladies having hostels named after them, establishing hostels and coming up with various projects, but this one here has been unique because she brings pastors now and then. Despite all this history, we've still gotten this kind of activities taking place in the country. Let the church now stand up and ask William Ruto why. My name is Abel Mukwa. Kindly, if this is the first time you're watching our videos, please make sure that you subscribe, like, and comment, because that is the best support you can always give this channel. For those who want to engage me, check my number on my bio. Of course, you're going to share, and that's how you'll help me grow and better the analysis that we do here today. My name is Abel Mukwa once again.